Ladies, sorry I'm running late. I had an emergency session with a client who wasn't doing too well. Let's do our opening prayer and just clear any energy around our gut whispering challenge so that we're not afraid of listening to our gut. We're not afraid of listening to God. We're not afraid of really finding our courage and of healing our inner child. Just going to start with our opening prayer. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to Him. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay, so gut. When it comes to metaphysically scanning the gut, there's quite a few things. Hello, beautiful. There's quite a few things that come into play. Feel free to pop your questions about gut leaky guts, any psychic readings, body scans you want into this post underneath the live, and I will get to them as quickly as I can. Okay, I'm going to do this one with the people that are here just to make it a bit more balanced than the angel readings earlier. So, gut, when you scan the body, whether you study theta healing or Eden energy medicine or Louise Hay, gut is all about healing the inner child and inner child trauma. Okay, so it's the base chakra and the sacral chakra, and it's before conscious thought. So it's those years between 0 and 3, normally before conscious memory or really deep awareness. And it's often what we call pre-verbal or unconscious relationship programming or beliefs, things that we got from watching family systems, school systems, societal systems. Hi, lovely. That are blocking us from actually knowing who we are. So we talk about gut instinct or gut voice or gut feelings. And those are the parts of us that are connected to our instinctual knowledge that we are a soul, not a body, that we came here programmed by a higher power to fulfill a divine life purpose, and that it's going to take courage to do this. And that's why I say no guts, no glory, right? It's going to take courage to be who we are in a world that programs us to be the way that we want it to be. On a world based on fear and thought systems based on fear, we are based predominantly on programs of love. So the idea that we're going to be our soul and our connection with Creator and fulfill our divine life purpose brings up a lot of stuff. And the reason it's mostly around childhood is not just because of your childhood in this life. It's also because in every single incarnation you've ever had, right, you have been a child. So inner child is not just an aspect from this lifetime. Inner child is an aspect from all lifetimes. And that's why it's an archetype as well as a child. Hi, Rose. It is a part of us that has been there every incarnation. And every incarnation you've had a mother, every reincarnation you've had a father, every reincarnation you've been through these major archetypes. And that's why in a tarot card deck they have the major arcana, the major archetypes, right, that we all move through. But inner child is one of those really, really strong archetypes that can get deeply lodged in our gut, particularly because there's quite a lot of inner child wounds, abandonment, neglect, abuse, betrayal. So a lot of these, loneliness, a lot of these core inner child wounds then manifest as trauma in adulthood. And we start to recreate these patterns in adult relationships, which leads to chronic long-term abuse. I had a lot of inner child work to do so far, still healing, especially at 3 years old. Yeah, there's a lot of when our carers stop or don't know how to love themselves, they can't love us. So Brené Brown literally scientifically proved that this year, that we can only love our children as much as we love ourselves. And that caused shockwaves throughout the world of psychotherapy and healing, because everybody thought that we could love our children or the people that we love the most more than we can love ourselves. And now we know that that's not true. And when we don't love ourselves well, we also don't love our children and all those different parts of us well. Okay. So we don't do it consciously, but we can't give more than we're willing to receive. It's a basic law of the universe. So when we're talking about working on the inner child at 3, 4, 1, 2, particularly because our parents normally were receiving less love than they ever had in their lives, and were receiving more stress and more pressure, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, than they ever had at any point in their lives. They couldn't love us the way we deserve to be loved. What happens is that then we believe that we are not lovable, or that we are not trustworthy. So if you like, for example, if your parent can't love you, the child doesn't stop loving the parent, it stops loving themselves. If your parent doesn't trust you, and they're constantly, acting like you're naughty, or they investigating what you do, or going around your privacy, then you will not trust yourself. You won't trust your decisions. You won't trust your your direction in life, or you won't know which way to go or when to go there. And the moment something goes wrong, you'll give up, right? If your parent abandoned you, you will abandon yourself. So the moment that you face a challenge, or the moment that you that something gets hard, whether it's a relationship or a job or raising a child, you might abandon that project, or you might abandon that person. So when a child receives some kind of fear or lovelessness from the parent, the child internalizes it in what we call the inner parent, and then the inner parent continues that behavior on an unconscious level with us, and we perpetuate the behaviors that our parents practice with us as children. And that's why so many people turn around after they have children and go, oh my God, I've become my mom, right? Oh my God, I've become my dad. Because it's a very deep somatic level of conditioning and programming that is not done consciously. Nobody's born going, oh, I'm going to copy my mom and dad's every move. It's called imprinting for a reason. And that's why we use like re-imprintings in hypnosis. And the term re-imprinting comes from people literally watching, baby ducks and baby swans, and noticing that they would copy the behavior unconditionally of whatever object, whatever was the first thing they saw when they were born. And realizing that humans were very similar, that we would often copy the behaviors of the first things we saw when we were born on a subconscious level. Okay. How can you trust yourself more? So trust comes from an aspect of faith. Faith is the capacity to trust the divine. So it's addressing the original root places or traumas where our trust was broken in people that we loved, sometimes addressing past life issues that blocked us from even being able to choose a family that we could trust, right? And then giving yourself creator's perspective, definition, understanding of trust, what it feels like, what it is, how to share it with people, when to not trust people, because trust is a spectrum, and it's constantly moving and changing. So trust wounds either look like being overly trusting or not trusting at all. They're like two extremes. You either trust everybody unconditionally, or you trust no one, and you have it's like a wall or a completely open door. And what you want it to be is more like a membrane where they're exactly like a cell. Some things get through when you need it, as you need it, and things leave when you need them to, as you need them to. But it's a constant flow in and out in relationship with the universe. And trust is like that with everybody in your life. It's a constant flow. It changes. A relationship may start off being somewhere where you can be unconditionally safe, and then change to somewhere where you can't. Or it may start off being somewhere where you don't feel like yourself, but as time evolves and trust get built, you can let your guard down. You can be more of who you are. But the law of change is a part of the universe. So the most important rule when it comes to trust is follow your gut. You have to consistently be checking in with God every day, how to trust, who to trust, how much to trust. Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry I ran a bit late today. I really did my best, but I'm definitely going to be here the rest of the days at 4. Today was just manic client wise, and I won't leave somebody in the middle of a session if it's not completely finished. Sometimes these things take longer. Okay, let me just have a look at a few of the questions. So I'm just going to scroll up. Okay. Okay. So what's coming up in a lot of the questions is, when will I meet my divine life partner? How will I know if I'm with the right person? Who do I know how to start a family with? And this is particularly interesting when it comes to gut healing. So the angels are telling me to show you that there's an experiment that they do normally in the first day of like very big hypnosis academies, and it's that they will, before allowing the students to introduce each other, they will ask them to find the other people in the room that they feel the most comfortable with and organize themselves into groups. And as a rule, when people do that, everybody in the group, when they start introducing themselves and asking themselves about their history, will have the same family history. Okay, so a lot of what we think is our gut feeling is actually the feeling to return to people who have a similar family blueprint like us, so that we can create a family with them. And we know their rules for success, their rules for love, their rules for failure. And we will return to what is familiar, as Marissa Peer would say, or we will return to what we first had in our subconscious age between 0 to family experience over and over again without even understanding that that is what we are doing. Okay, so very often what is familiar is experienced as what is our gut instinct. And the truth is that your gut instinct should come from God. And God is like your, I suppose, your root ancestor, like your soul mother, your soul father, your divine mother, your divine father. But what happens is, because of that early childhood conditioning, we return to our family patterns, no matter how toxic those patterns are. And they will get triggered by other people's behaviors. And normally only when we're inside the relationship and we're like, oh my God, that person changed. But it's not so much that the person changed as that the environment changed. And when the environment changes, what's really going on and was normally hidden even from us as children starts to come up, because our imprinting doesn't take place at the level of the conscious mind. It takes place at the level of the reptilian mind and the animal mind. So most people are completely unaware of what's in their unconscious, and that's where muscle testing becomes really, really important. So let's just start by sending so much unconditional love to all of your gut. Oh, okay. And can Creator show you the difference between your gut instinct and what is familiar, and what are the actual blueprints that you were encoded with? Can we show you the difference between your family constellation and energetic signature and your God's truth? Ooh. Can we show you how to connect through to God and to Creator through your gut? Does self-value also come through the gut? So if you think about where the two chakras are, we talked about base chakra, and that's really what we're reprogramming right now. I'm kind of witnessing it energetically. But sacral chakra is all about worthiness. Right. And if you think about how the immune system is also in the gut, you can see why in theta healing they say that viruses are about worthiness, right? And it's why so many illnesses come from worthiness, because obviously inner child is in the sacral chakra. So from a Sanskrit metaphysical perspective, my experience inner child is in all the chakras, but that's what they teach, is that the core inner child comes from the sacral chakra, and that's where the womb sits. And that is inherently connected to our worthiness. It doesn't matter whether you look at metaphysical anatomy or Louise Hay or theta healing or medical intuitive technique. So worthiness is connected to the gut, and it's kind of like uh, it's kind of like thoughts versus beliefs. thoughts kind of go through your head 365 days a year, 1,000 miles an hour, whereas beliefs are like core identifying principles that you believe to be true, and they take a bit more work to move, right? And then there's principles, which is like core fundamental things that you believe are like unshakable. And if somebody messes with them, they mess with your identity, and people will literally die for them. So it's the same thing with emotions. A worthiness is like one of those instinctual emotions that if you have, it gives you your voice. It gives you the permission, the curiosity to explore, to figure out who you are, to play with that. So self-worth does play a big part in the gut, and predominantly that's because your ability to defend yourself and stand up for yourself and protect yourself, just like your immune system comes from your parents standing up for you and protecting you um, when you were a child. And there's some very good books on healing the inner child, and I'll get them to link them inside um, this so you can go and have a look. But as what we said, if you weren't protected, then you won't know how to protect yourself, and you won't feel worthy of protection. If you weren't listened to, you won't feel worthy of having a voice, and that's all gut instinct, gut feelings. A lot of it is about really healing that inner child wound. Viana literally says in her Disease and Disorders that gut is about child abuse. She doesn't even say it's about, inner child general. She's like, it's about child abuse, period. And so it's kind of, it's triggering. I can feel it triggering. But it's, it's an important, it's an important aspect of the actual energy healing and clearing, right? That would be helpful. List of inner child healing books. Yeah, don't worry, we've got it. I'll get it made up for you guys now that I know you want it. Okay. So any part of you that is like afraid of your inner child because your parents were afraid of you as a child, can we just create that now? Would that be okay? Any part of you that's dissociated from, disconnected from your inner child, can we just create that now? Okay, and I'm feeling this energy of it's not it's not being silenced, because it's like children don't have anything to compare it to. So that's one of the things that makes childhood so vulnerable, particularly when you're pre-verbal, is you don't have another mom or another dad or another family. So it's very difficult to verbalize your experience if you have nothing to compare it to. Um, so can we send so much love into the silence, right? The places where you don't know how to put words around what happened. Okay, so one of you, so guys, I'm on a streaming platform and it's going to multiple platforms at once. So if you want me to know your name, just type it into the message and then I'll be able to know who you are. It says, I was not abused as a child, at least not in the sense of actual abuse. Can it be from past lives? I've seen hypnosis that it never felt safe in this life since I was born. It can be from the womb. It can be from past lives. It can be ancestral, right? And it can also be from dissociated memories. So people have often said to me, I was not abused as a child. But what happens is part of our defense mechanism to abuse is forgetting what happened to us, right? Just like if we have a really hard fall, you don't remember falling. That's one of our strongest subconscious mechanisms for self-defense is repression. And we don't remember it happened at all. So you can use hypnosis and ask God to guide you to what the original wound was. And that's part of what we work through in Medical Intuitive Mastermind. We work through the archetype of the wounded self. It's why so many healers are sick. This idea that the wisdom comes through the wound is ancient. Even look at Chinese culture, it's like the wound is where the light gets in, etc. The cracks are where God's light gets in. So you're working through this original wound archetype to find the root, but it can 100% be past life. It can be ancestral. It can be inside the womb, and it can be toxin related as well. Okay. So whenever you're looking at disease, you are looking at toxins, like proper toxins and environmental factors, things like antibiotics, drugs, pesticides, GMOs, electromagnetic fields, like exposure to, um, those big pylons and sleeping next to the router, and all of those things do play. So you want to do an energy scan as well. I'm just looking at the metaphysical aspects of gut issues. But 100%, when you're looking at health as a whole, you can look at other lifetimes, but you do have to look at environmental factors and toxins too. Okay. So powerful. I keep yawning. I've done so many hypnotherapy sessions. It's not coming up that I was abused. If you're like, hypnotherapy is not supposed to be 1,000 sessions. So you're not going deep enough. So if you are not going deep enough with hypnosis, you need to get somebody who's an expert in putting you into trance, because if your conscious mind is still communicating and you're not getting, how do you know it's working? Is that you get a result. Make sense? So if you've done, fair enough, if you're doing like 3 months or 6 months, that's one thing. But if you've done years or even like, consistent sessions, but you don't feel like you've actually had a breakthrough, you're not going deep enough. And so from a hypnotherapist perspective, if you imagine that there is the conscious mind, and that's like the tip of the iceberg above the water. And then there's like the unconscious mind, which is the whole of the rest of the iceberg underneath the water, right? Everything that's underneath the water is unconscious. Okay, unconscious. That means you do not know about it. Now, that little thin line, right? The line that separates the air from the water, right? And that is separating the conscious part of the iceberg from the subconscious part of the iceberg. That in hypnosis is called the conscious critical faculty. The conscious critical faculty. And it's basically the part of your mind that decides what gets through or what doesn't get through, what's relevant for you and what's not relevant for you. And it's the part of you that decides what is safe for you to know and what is not safe for you to know. And in hypnotic trance, you have to go deep into a regression state or deep into trance sometimes if your conscious critical faculty has decided that whatever happened to you is not safe for you to know, right? There are many things that you can heal with the conscious mind in a theta level, but there are many things, especially unconscious trauma, that need to be healed at a delta level, level, and that's where you need a deeper level of trance, because it's not, if you, literally you're not getting to the issue because it's hidden even from you. Okay, it's hidden even from you. So okay. My daughter has eczema and allergies. The worst her skin got was when I did a healing on my father/great grandfather line, and the pie came out of her skin like it was healing the hole. Okay, so I'm just gonna send so much unconditional love to your daughter. But they're showing me immediately this is a liver thing. So liver flushes, things like burdock root and dandelion. Obviously, I'm not allowed to give medical advice. I don't have your daughter's medical history, so please get her into a naturopath as quickly as possible. And a good heavy metal detox is going to do the world of good. High doses of vitamin E and things like light therapy will also help a lot. Okay, it will also help a lot. But with the liver, you might actually be able to put it into remission. So I would really look at detoxing her liver. Okay. Oops, healing the whole family line. Yeah, it can be. Kids often try and heal the whole family through illness and also bring the whole family together through illness as well. No, sorry, it was part of my practice when I was training as a hypnotherapist. That's why I said I had many sessions and abuse did not come up. Okay, so it's yeah, with hypnosis is different in every client, but what I will say is that very often you will attract the kind of a client that you feel comfortable with and that God thinks is the right kind of client for you to handle. My clients have everything under the sun because I work with every body part. So I get everything from money issues when I'm working on, colons, and guts and family stuff to, heartbreak and, what's it called? Heartbreak and family constellations and personal phobias and stuff when I'm working on the nervous system. So things that they've seen, past lives when I get to the eyes and the brain and all sorts. But I'm comfortable with a lot of things. So it depends. And I have a lot of very successful clients who have one niche and all they get is, fertility, or all they get is gut. So you can be a general practitioner or you can have a lot, but it's from a metaphysical perspective, gut issues 9 times out of 10, the whole nervous system has become dysregulated because of long-term chronic emotional abuse. Okay. I did RTT. It helped a lot, but I wonder if there's deeper truths because now I love my inner child. I have not experienced results in the physical yet. I love RTT. I've done quite a few RTT sessions for me because I tend to choose a therapy that's not the one I major in so that my subconscious can't fight it so much. But yeah, everything requires a few sessions. But if you're doing loads and loads and loads and not getting anywhere without an aha moment, it's because it's not going as deep as it needs to go, no matter what therapy it is. It's often about choosing something that we don't have a defense mechanism against. So Course in Miracles says that everything will be used in service of the ego, and Freud used to say every thing will be used in service of all the intelligence will be used in service of the neurosis. So sometimes it's about doing something that you don't know how to block, and it's also about having a variety, so that you are not getting so used to one way of healing that you can find ways around it. It's so I normally will choose, something different to heal once every 2 or 3 months. Then I'll go back to something I haven't used in a while as a way of just making my ego work for it. But it works for me very well. And it was Marianne Williamson that suggested that to me a long time ago in London, and she talks about that in her lectures. Kindly, is it possible the energy of verbal abuse, economic and relational partners that have affected my safety to feel safe, especially in family relationship cause institutional work? It's possible to release it, and I'm going to ask Creator to pull as much of it that can be pulled from you and anyone else that wants it now. But, right, real for individual forgiveness work is normally required for the person who, caused the deepest wounds. So actually, like, doing the forgiveness exercise, going up into all that is, really talking about your feelings, telling that person how you felt, releasing those toxic emotions is really, really important. There we go. Okay. Many problems can be from the gut. Colon, you said I had with one client. Yeah. So base chakra, which is on the colon, and the colon sits, it's the bottom part of the gut. Base chakra is family, finances, sexuality, um, and safety. So, particularly men and women, one of the biggest factors of stress is money, not having money. And you see how much right now mental health and health problems have gone through the roof because no money, you can't afford the right food, you're struggling to put a roof over the table, you're struggling to put a roof over your head, food on the table, and then you're constantly in fight flight stress mode. People go into survival, right? When they're dealing with financial issues. And the biggest nervous system that you have is inside your gut. It's actually bigger than the nervous system that you have inside your brain. So when we're dealing with the gut, especially when we start scanning, we're looking for parasites, which is the places where we don't have boundaries, right? Or we let people take advantage of us, or where we are taking advantage of other people. It is a two-way street. And all of us do both, just so you're aware. Number two is the viruses. So it's the worthiness, and we've already had the worthiness questions asked. So there's not just parasites and gut biome in the gut. There's a lot of viruses in the gut, and some of them are actually healthy viruses. They help us cut our DNA and things like that, or transform healthy enzymes. And then there's the bacteria. We literally have millions of bacteria inside our gut that have a consciousness of their own, and change throughout time based on our hormones and our food, our diet, our structure, etc. And the bacteria, when they're out of balance, represent guilt. The viruses, when they're out of balance, represent worthiness. The and parasites, when they're out of balance, represent boundaries and not knowing how to protect yourself or feel safe. And that's how we work with them from a gut perspective. But it is those core two base and sacral chakras when you're working with the gut, because the gut starts at the base and then moves up almost to above the sacral. Okay. Thank you. I love working with you and hearing your love and light. I would love to be a part of your masterclass. I'm praying for the funds. If you're praying for the funds, they'll come. I'm very good at pooling in money for people when they're on their divine life purpose, and most of my people say that to me. I talked to you. I did a discovery call for Medical Intuitive, and the money came in. So if you just literally put your hands up if that's the issue, and give my angels permission to remove that block, because it took me a long time to remove my worthiness to abundance blocks. But I very, very much know my worth now. It took a long time for me to figure it out. So it's easier for me to transmit. Okay, kindly, if it's possible, the energy of verbal. Oh, we've done that one. Hello, lovely. Had a lot of gas. What can I start to do? Activate charcoal. And when we have a lot of gas, it's a sign that our gut biome's out of balance, or that we ate something that's breaking down with a lot of not great chemicals, or not breaking down properly. So activated charcoal, amazing if you're breastfeeding or if you have a colicky baby, and amazing for getting rid of gas like this. So just buy a little box of activated charcoal, take it to the restaurant with you. I want it to. Yeah, okay. Whatever, whoever wants the angels to work on their funds, just say yes. I'm good. I'm good with helping you guys financially. Don't worry about that. Oh, angels are very good at this kind of thing. Bringing in the money, angels. Okay, so anywhere where your parents transferred their own unworthiness onto you, right? Which is everywhere they thought that they weren't good enough, not good enough as a mom, not good enough as a provider, not ready to be a parent, that the world was unfair financially, that you have to work really hard for what you get, that it's all based on what kind of an education that you can have, all these old paradigms. Can we destroy and discreate them now? Oh, getting the dark side of having WhatsApp on the laptop. Okay, sorry guys. Okay. Just showing that you're safe, that it's safe to be worthy. Would you like Creator's perspective, definition, understanding that it's safe to be worthy? Permission to outgrow your parents, permission to outgrow your teachers, permission, to outgrow your mentors. Okay, can we give you permission to financially outgrow the previous generations? And can we change your financial set point? So wherever you want your financial set point to be, I would choose about, no, I would actually know something, muscle test. Just stand up for me, say yes, 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 your body should lean gently forwards. No, 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 body should lean gently backwards. And you're just going to say, my upper limit is 1,000 a month. My upper limit is 2,000 a month. My upper limit is 3,000 a month. My upper limit is 5,000 a month. My upper limit is 10,000 a month. My upper limit is 20,000 a month. Yeah, so that's my one. But you can keep going. My upper limit is 30,000 a month. My upper limit is 40,000 a month. My upper limit is 50,000 a month. And then you want to choose like 500 to 1,000 above where that is. And that's normally what you can get away with without any belief work or quantum leaping or parallel life changing. So anywhere, just give it a 500 or 1,000, and then muscle test again to make sure it's changed to the one that you want. And if you want it to go even higher, that's where you would do more belief work. And that's what we do in Theta, and it's what we do in the Financial Freedom Masterclass. But if you want to go even higher, you can do the healing and then muscle test again. What's my financial set point? And if you think that now my financial set point is around 20,000 a month, whereas when I first started, it was at less than 500 a month, right? So when your internal set point is set, that's where you're going to find yourself coming at over and over again. And that's why often entrepreneurs find themselves getting stuck at the same level, and they stay at that level for like a year, and then they move up, but then they come back and they move back, because we're not just programmed to return to what's familiar family wise and relationship wise. We're also programmed to return to what's familiar finances wise. And that means that we will return to our financial inner set point unless we change it. Okay. So, anyone that would like their financial set point changed, just choose a number and I'm going to just say yes. And then I'm going to get Creator to do it. So, Creator is commanded to change their financial set point to the one that they've chosen now. Thank you. It's done. It's done. It's done. Show me. Whew. Okay. Okay, that's looking good to me. Okay. Can years of fight or flight be healed in a few sessions? Yes, it really, really can. It really, really can. That's what we do in medical intuitive technique. That's what they do in RTT. That's what they do with EFT. It really, really can. Once you find the root traumas, it really, really can. It's not about how long you've had something. It's about working and releasing the pain that's trapped inside the body. How does that happen? So, if you think about it from a Course in Miracles perspective, what humans believe that they are their body. And when we believe that we're our body instead of believing that we are our soul, all of the beliefs and consciousness and emotions that are supposed to be being processed by our soul, right? So we get our highest learning in this lifetime are actually being processed and run through our body. And that's a lot. The body's meant to be a light body. It's not meant to be a heavy body. And that can cause excess weight, diseases, all kinds of problems because the body's not supposed to be the mind, right? But this belief that our brain is our mind has really messed things up when it comes to our health. So when you start studying metaphysical principles, you get that you are a soul and that your soul is learning through this lifetime. So all of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions start running through your soul instead of running through your body. And that takes a lot of the pressure, a lot of the weight, a lot of the stress off of your body. And that's one of the principal differences when you work from a metaphysical perspective with hypnosis versus just working from a traditional mindset with hypnosis is that metaphysical principles are completely different root cause wise than traditional hypnosis, which is all about the inner child. Whereas we are dealing with lifetimes, ancestral stuff, womb stuff, and this shift in reality from believing that you are a body to believing that you are a soul. Right? It's a very big paradigm shift. Uh, Yes, that was my parents. I didn't make any money for myself at all. I'm a wife with no access to money at all, so I'm not sure how to do this, but feel it deeply. You can be a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. And, I come from a mom that gave up her career to be a mom. So I had very strong beliefs that I'd have to give up everything to be a mother. And I really had to work hard to release those beliefs. And it still caused a few blunders. So anywhere where you're thinking, I'm just a wife, I'm just a mom, I'm just a healer, I'm nobody. Can we release those beliefs? And can we change it to, I am someone important. God decided to put me on this earth. I am exceptional. I matter. I have divine gifts within me. I'm financially valuable. Ooh. I know the difference between being a wife or a mother or a daughter and being a servant. I know that it's safe for me to receive financially and I know who to share that with. So sometimes it's not safe to tell your partner that you are making money. Sometimes it's not safe to tell your mother or father that you're making money or even your children. So finances can create a lot of jealousy and you really have to trust your gut, right? Especially in the beginning where you're vulnerable and you're just beginning to earn, whether that's in a job or whether that's through sessions in your own business. It's very important to trust your gut about who to share that with and to keep it secret if it's about leaving or if it's about planning. There we go. Can we show you the difference between privacy and dishonesty? So you don't feel guilt about going to the bathroom to take a pee. And you shouldn't feel guilty about having a bank account that you don't let anyone have access to. You have a fundamental human right to privacy, right? And this has become crazy with social media and everything else, with everyone talking about, transparency, as if what they mean is oversharing. There are areas of your life that are supposed to be private. Just like when you go to the bathroom, it's okay not to want everybody watching. It's the same thing. Why are there some areas of our life where privacy is required? Because too many people with eyes on what we're doing can not just change the energy of the situation, but that can lead to a jealousy or other kinds of danger. If somebody knows where you keep your money, if somebody knows, where you live with your children, they've got access to information about you that they shouldn't have, and they may not have the best of intentions, right? And disabling you financially, harming your family, those are things that can permanently change the course of your life. So you have to really ask for your divine guidance on what you should share and what to keep private, and follow that divine guidance. So can we give you creator's perspective, definition, understanding of what to share and what to keep private, and how to keep things private without feeling guilty about it? There we go. Okay, that's looking really good. Yeah, people been pulling me away from working with you. Yeah, people will try. I had people try and pull me away from working with Anna. I had people try and pull me away from doing what's it called? The the hypnosis stuff. I had people try and pull me away from doing the angel reading stuff. When you're about to take a big shift in consciousness and they can feel it, or if you're about to make a connection with someone that they don't resonate with, they'll try and pull you onto their life path. Yeah, they get triggered, and instead of working through their own stuff, they try and figure out what your curriculum is, but only you know what you're supposed to. So I'll give you an example. There was a stage in my life where I first met my husband about 11 years ago, where I was really focused on Anthony Robbins, and I was really into his world. And I started working with theta healing, and my mentor in theta healing was like, "Oh, Anthony Robbins is like, he's so past it. He's just like generic. I can't believe you're interested in him and blah blah." And it really damaged my relationship with this man that had really served my life. And then almost 3 or 4 years ago, this person then really got into Anthony Robbins, and I delayed 6 years of my life and my personal growth because I let them move me off my path or my guidance. So your guru is your guru, not somebody else's, and they will only be for a certain stage of your life or evolution before you outgrow or move on to somebody else. But who your spiritual teacher is none of anybody else's business, right? You're allowed to like who you like, and you're allowed to work with who you want to work with. And if people get in the way with that's on them. It's not you. There are no perfect teachers. There are no like golden gurus. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has strengths. You want to pull who God is pulling you to work with, and who your angels are telling you to work with. And I've been I've been lucky. I've been lucky in my life to be close to a lot of spiritual teachers and to be close to a lot of powerful people. I've been blessed, not lucky. And every single one of them, um, every single one of them has the juju going on. So it's all right. So can we just release anywhere where other people are trying to protect you by making your decisions for you? And can replace it with the truth that you're a grown person who knows what's best for you, and that it's safe for you to go down your path and to resonate with who you resonate with. And it's also safe for you to set boundaries. It's what we're talking about with the parasites. It's safe for you to say, okay, I get it. You don't like that person, but it's okay for me. It's where I'm at right now. Okay. It's okay for you to set boundaries. There we go. Okay. That's looking a lot better. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I wish it was. I used to think when I'm 33 now, which is still pretty young. But when I started on my spiritual journey at like 18, 19, I used to think, oh my God, maybe it's just that one teacher. I promise it's not. I worked for Anna in the biggest theta healing school in Europe. I've been with Viana. I've been in the Anthony Robbins conferences. I've been in the um what's it called, the hypnosis world. Every single time I get close to a big teacher, there's always somebody going, ooh, ooh, are you getting sucked into a cult? Does this person, really have integrity? It's you have to trust your divine guidance, and not just, when you're going in, but when to come out as well. Everybody has their own stage in the spiritual journey, and people in the nicest possible way don't just fear your connection with somebody else, they fear our growth. you know there were many times where I knew, particularly for me with theta, where I knew I was going to take big leaps in soul growth that if I didn't manage well could affect my marriage, could affect my relationship with my parents, and there were periods where it did. Um but you blocking your growth won't make those relationships last longer. It just means they end in different ways. If that relationship doesn't grow with you, then it's not for you, right? And if those people in your life can't accept your right to be yourself and follow your own path, then that's something that they need to work on, is respecting the free will of others. You delaying your path doesn't change anything. It's just like me. I'm just 8 years behind with my Anthony Robbins, my Anthony Robbins fandom. And I probably would have gotten a lot further and had a lot less issues. So you follow your divine guidance. You work with the gurus that are assigned to you in your divine path. Okay. Um, Live and let live. Rebecca saying, God led me to you today. I follow you always, but not always every day. And this was for me. Oh, you're welcome. Ah, right. So let me have a quick look. Okay, let me just have a quick look, a few more questions, and then I'm going to do our closing prayer. Okay, dear Sky, can you scan my energy and social life and see why I very rarely still attract people who want to be dominating? Okay, so this is very relevant for child abuse and gut, right? Domination and submission are often very strong gut instincts because they're animal instincts and they're what we do as little children. So just do a scan on that one. Okay, so creator's showing me there's some kind of an energy around like what's the word for it? It's a distortion, a confusion between um being dominated and being safe. So when somebody takes care of everything, we can let go, right? Whether that's in bed or whether that's financially or whether that's emotionally, if somebody takes care of stuff, then we can let go. Now, that's very similar as a child to somebody controlling everything, right? So when there's confusion between care and control, we will often attract dominating people. So, can I release the distortion, any confusion? Can I show you the difference, the creator of all that is, between care and control, and that you can be completely cared for? Ooh. And can we show you the difference between creator's perspective, definition, understanding between control and abuse? So somebody can be very in control and not be abusive. So when I'm in a therapy session, I hold a very strong, unconditionally safe container where I am completely under God's control. But God doesn't abuse that, right? So can we show you that there's a difference between abuse and control? There's safe control and there's abusive control, and you know the difference, the creator of all that is, and your definitions are the same as creators. There we go. Okay. And from another perspective, because creator showing this is relevant for you, but it also goes back to what Bettina was saying about people trying to get you to work with people or not get you to work with people. There's a lot of competition out there. And what happens is a lot of people believe they have to damage somebody else so that they can have more clients or the other way around, particularly in coaching and healing industry. So can we release that? If you've got other people doing that to you, mentors or other people who have done a modality, they're like, oh, I've done RTT, but I don't like Marissa Peer, or I've done life coaching, but I don't want to do Anthony Robbins, or I've done theta healing, but I don't like Viana. Can we release that? Is that okay? And can we show you that their feelings are none of your business? And that you have the right to get the qualifications that you need with the people that you feel aligned with. There we go. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Rebecca saying, my marriage is really hard right now because I've outgrown my husband. When we met, our childhood wounds matched. My healing has gone beyond his, and he keeps trying to hold me back in the place we met. Mine was rejection, abandonment. His was emasculating mother wound. We fit well. He is not interested in change or growth, sadly, and I can't leave him and our children. So I wait for us to match again, but I feel so trapped right now. Okay, so let's just start by sending you and your marriage so much unconditional love. So, from a divine masculine feminine perspective, a man's deepest unconscious psychological desire is to be respected. A woman's deepest unconscious psychological desire is to be cherished. Okay, and this is basics of masculine feminine principle. Studied David Data, and he goes into depth about these ancient polarities. But long story short, it's not about outgrowing your partner. It's about not loving your partner. So in a marriage long term, both of you change, and the love that you have at the beginning, unless you fall in love over and over and over again, it will not last, right? You do not stay the same. There's no way. Who my husband married is not who he's married to now, and he had to fall in love with me at every stage of my evolution. That was a choice that he had to make every time he fell out of love with me to fall back in love with me again. And that's something that only people that really know themselves well or study themselves well um, can admit to or know. Some people do it unconsciously because they've watched their parents do it, etc. But some people really do it very consciously. They know when they've fallen out of love with their partner. They know when they've fallen back in love with their partner. So can we show you that it's okay to ask Creator to help you fall in love with your partner? And release any belief that it's about where you grow or where you don't grow, how much you know or how much you don't know, right? It's not about growth, it's about love. And God is the only being that can create love, romantic love, emotional love, sexual love. Ooh, it's not about growth, it's about love. Gosh, this one's a huge one. And that you can ask God to help you fall in love with your partner and to help them fall in love with you as you are now. There's no point in them falling in love with a version of you that no longer exists. You've grown and they've grown. Rebecca saying, okay, it's about loyalty too, I guess. Oh, loyalty is a virtue, but ultimately we're back to like self-love equals how much you can love others. Your first loyalty has to be to God and to yourself. And that's like that poem by Arai the Mountain Dreamer. I want to know if you'll betray others in order to risk being true to yourself. Loyalty is a very deep virtue, but it starts with being able to be loyal to God and be loyal to you, and then you're able to show loyalty to others. But we kind of briefly covered this in the menopause masterclass last week when we were looking at the feminine wounds, that 60% of female communication is gossip, right? There's so much shadow because of how much we're still controlled, and our fear of we have no idea a lot of the time how to navigate real communication with actual kindness without moving into cruelty. And gossip is the way most women and men kind of handle that, that kind of repressed anger or toxicity. So there's still a big wound in the collective consciousness. But loyalty starts with, we're talking about gut instinct, like figuring out who you are so you can be loyal to you, and then staying current as your identity grows and shifts so that you can help to be loyal to others. Yes, I'm learning masculinity and femininity polarity right now. I just found out about it. And yes, I feel this. Every day is a choice, and I do falling out. You are so amazing. Yeah, seriously, I've been with my husband for 11 years now. I've been married, I think, for 3 years. And he is not who I met, and I'm not who he met. And a part of what's kept our marriage strong and together, even in our darkest moments, is that I knew I was able to lie in bed next to him and go, my God, I'm lying next to a stranger. And then my mind would go, yeah, he's not who he was yesterday. And that's that very same thought that my ego could have used to destroy my marriage and go, I don't know him, I married the wrong person. It was actually used to create excitement, because then falling in love is fun. Falling in love is sexy. Falling in love is chemistry. But I had to realize that there was yeah, the body was the same, but he was a stranger, and I had to get to know him again. And this is why, the consistent quality time and the date nights is so important when you're navigating girl relationships, is that falling in love with who they are is a choice, but getting to know who they are is what creates understanding. So all the studies on loneliness show that it all comes from the neglect wound, right? And I studied this because I really struggled with loneliness for a long time. And it doesn't come from not having people in your life. It comes from feeling like the people who are the closest to you don't understand you and don't share your feelings or values. So you can be, Marianne Williamson says this in her relationship seminars, you can be lying next to somebody and be 1,000 miles apart, and you can be really intimate with someone that's on the other half of the world, right? Because it's about feeling like somebody cares about your ideas and has the same core values. Married for 20 years, he doesn't sleep in my bed. He can only sleep on the couch. I've been lonely 9 years in my marriage. The good news is there's no order of difficulty in miracles, right? And whether you sleep on the bed or on the couch doesn't address what can be changed. But if you are honestly telling me that you have no way out, then I suggest you start asking for ways to get back in, right? If there is a way out, then, by all means, find a way out. As far as I'm concerned, there is always a way out. But you have to decide that you are the power in your world and make a choice and start asking God for what you want. If you want to stay in your marriage and fall in love with your partner again, boom. Doesn't matter if it's been 9 years or 9 minutes. If you're out of love, you're out of love. The problem remains the same. And God is not limited by our limits, right? And it will still cause constant flight, freeze, and loneliness. I promise you this: if you are lonely, so is your soulmate. So you're not the only lonely one in the marriage, right? It's the hard part to see because we look for our own suffering in relationships. The same thing. If you are angry at your child, chances are your child is angry at you. Normally, relationships are 100% responsibility and 100% responsibility, not 50-50. Okay? Is not having support in your life the reason for gut issues? Not having support in your life is actually the reason for most back issues, and sometimes for adrenal fatigue, but support goes to the spine. Okay, support goes to the spine. So lack of financial support is root chakra, lower spine. Lack of relationship and family support tends to be middle of the spine, like I'll never be loved. So like from below your rib cage to like your heart chakra. And then not being supported in your career or your communication tends to be throat and above. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do our closing prayer, and I'll see you guys here tomorrow for day 2 of our gut whispering challenge. I'm going to call on Archangel Raphael and his band of mercy and just ask for an instant healing on your gut. And we're going to do our closing prayer. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good, good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. I love you guys. See you tomorrow.